I'd like to introduce community member Daniella Slon for a short chat with you about the lighter side of living with CMD. This is her debut. Give her a big hand.
Thanks. Wow. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How's everyone doing?
Very well, thanks.
My name is Daniella Slon, and I am thrilled to be here tonight. First of all, can you all see me? You see, I am the product of a 5'4" father and an almost 5' mother. I didn't have a prayer. A couple of weeks ago, I had my annual appointment with my pulmonologist, and you know how those appointments go. The nurse calls you in, takes your vitals, and then invites you to get on the scale to measure your height and your weight. You can get off the scale now. Thank you, Miss Slon, she says to me. You are 4'9" and 3/4 of an inch. Really? Would it be so difficult to round it up to 4'10"? I mean, when was the last time you got off a scale and the nurse said to you, okay, you can get off now. You're 112 pounds and 33 ounces. I mean, it never happens, right? So why this height-weight double standard? Well, in addition to being able to see me, I really hope that you can understand me. You might have detected that I have a bit of an accent. I was born and raised in Johannesburg, South Africa. Yeah, you know, it's funny. Every time I meet Americans and they find out where I'm from, they go, wow, South Africa. Where is that? Are you kidding me? South Africa. I don't think there is any other country that makes it easier for you to find on the world map. Oh, and for the record, no, I did not grow up in a mud hut. I did not swing from the vines. Newsflash, there are no jungles in South Africa. And no, I did not have a pet lion. Anyway, I'm going to try my best to put on my greatest fake American accent for you tonight. However, if I slip up, here's one tip. We South Africans don't pronounce our ERs at the end of a word. So South Africans say mother, father, ventilator, whereas you Americans would say mother, father, water, ventilator. I can tell you, as someone with a limited lung capacity, talking in a South African accent is far less strenuous than talking in an American one. I therefore recommend to anyone here tonight with any respiratory insufficiency to adopt a South African accent immediately. I guess I should mention that I am here because I was diagnosed with SEPN1 related myopathy, also known as rigid spine. I was diagnosed by the wonderful and brilliant people at the NIH, some of whom are here this weekend. I would like to take a moment to give a shout out to the amazing SEPN1 community, many of whom, 44 and plus, who are here tonight. Although we are the smallest CMD on the international registry, we are fierce and we are fabulous. For me, the hardest thing about growing up with a CMD was being very, very thin, especially in my teenage and young adult life. The one thing that saved me from being mistaken as a walking ironing board were my ample breasts, passed down to me from my buxom female relatives. Just goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, that in amongst those troublesome, recessive genes are also some very good ones. Nowhere did being thin come under more scrutiny than the 6 interesting years I lived in Israel. When I was 25, I graduated law school, and the very next day came to the alarming conclusion that I had no desire whatsoever to be a lawyer. True. So I decided to go traveling, and I ended up in Israel, yet another politically screwed up country. A country, by the way, I would not judge you for not being able to find on a map. Because Israel is so small, you have to leave the country to change your mind. Are there any Israelis here tonight? One. Okay, don't be insulted with what I'm about to say. For those of you who have never met an Israeli, they are not a shy people. They say whatever they like to anyone they meet. They have no filters and regard everything as their business. Am I right? So picture the scene. Daniella, the 55-pound, 25-kilo human toothpick, is sitting at a bus stop in Jerusalem waiting for a bus. Because that's what we do at bus stops. Along comes a middle-aged woman, sits down beside me, looks me up and down, and says, "Sweetie, why are you so thin? Doesn't your mother feed you?" The first time this happened, I said nothing. I wasn't about to explain to this interfering cow that I had some yet-to-be determined muscle disease. The second, third, and fourth time it happened, I just got really angry and told them to mind their business. The very worst thing you can say to an Israeli. The fifth time it happened, I could take it no more. Wow, you're really thin. You need to eat more. Don't you know men don't marry women who are too thin? Whew. Actually, I said in my most funereal tone, I'm dying. The look on her face, oh my God. She turned pale, her bottom lip started to quiver. She said nothing. I don't mind telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that from that day forth, I told anyone who remarked upon my skinny physique that I was dying. And it worked every time. It shut them up. It was exhilarating. Unfortunately, my brilliant strategy didn't work in every situation. After 3 years of living in Israel and taking public transportation, I decided it was time to get my Israeli driver's license. I'd already been driving in South Africa, so I didn't think it would be a big deal. So off I went to the Department of Licensing and Transportation. Like all bureaucracies in Israel, I took a number like you would at any daily counter and waited and waited and waited for my number to be called. 644, and that's my number. I jumped up and went to the woman behind the glass cubicle. How can I help you? She said, in the most boring manner imaginable. Shalom, I said in my cheeriest tone. I had learned through bitter experience that being over-friendly to bitchy bureaucrats can work miracles because they seem to delight in trying to make even the simplest exercise highly complex. My name is Daniella. I'm from South Africa. I'd like to apply for my Israeli license. She looked me up and down. I beamed at her. You are too thin to drive. It really happened. You can't make this shit up. Clearly, telling her I was dying would not have helped. Telling her I wish she would die would have made me feel a lot better. I think she read my mind because she glared back at me and told me that I had to go and get a medical assessment. So off I went the following week to the medical center in Tel Aviv. The doctor, it seemed, had just stepped off an Aeroflot plane because Dr. Svetlana Perestroika could not speak a word of English or Hebrew. She sat behind her desk, opened my file, and read my name aloud in her thick Russian accent. Daniella Slon. She then burst out laughing. looking at me and laughing so hard that tears were streaming down her face. I thought for a moment maybe I'd stumbled into the wrong medical building and was actually in the Tel Aviv insane asylum, and the patient had taken over. My fears were confirmed when the next thing she did was get up and start mimicking what looked like a deranged elephant. After pulling herself together, she started the examination. It was rigorous and it was thorough. For your viewing pleasure, I'm now going to reenact it for you. After completing these very difficult tasks, Dr. Perestroika signed a document declaring that I was not, in fact, too thin to drive in Israel. And to be sure that I'd understood her, she told me in sign language, by the way, when I got back to Jerusalem that evening and told my friends about the doctor's very odd behavior, they told me that the Russian word for elephant is, well, Slon, my last name. Clearly, Dr. Perestroika thought it was beyond hilarious that the 4'9" and 3/4 inch woman before her was named Daniella Elephant. That's it, thank you.